it's Savannah Ogwin from Savannahland 2. Today I'm starting a new series on the Virtual Smooches blog. I'd like to share every so often how I create for the Paper Smooches SPARKS challenges. Sometimes I change the sketches so much that you might wonder how I came up with my finished project. Don't worry, that's a question I ask myself as well. So today's video is actually for the October 26th challenge, and it started yesterday. I couldn't reveal the sketch until the challenge went live on Sunday, and that's why I'm late in posting this video. So there's the sketch, and I've printed it out for you here, and I'm just gonna write on my sketch my idea. So I'm thinking about it, and here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna put the sediment in the circle, and I'm only going to use this square part of my creation. I'm going to make a card. You can make whatever you want. And instead of having that little strip in the center, I think I'm just going to have two pieces of paper together. So that's my first original idea. I pull out some fancy pants papers, and I've decided that I'm going to use two diagonal pieces. I really like how they come together, but I wasn't sure if I liked them horizontal or if I liked them vertically. So I keep turning the papers and I'm rotating them, trying to figure out how I want to use them and how I want to use this sketch. I wasn't originally going to use that bottom piece. You can see up in the corner that it's, well, now it's covered up by my ovals that I'm going to use. But there's a piece at the bottom of the sketch, and I totally cut that out, but I think I'm going to use that gold paper for that. Okay, so now I'm thinking again, how big do I want the card? How do I want it vertical, horizontal? And I'm just going to start cutting my papers and placing them down on my card base to figure this out. If you follow me, and if you follow the Virtual Smooches blog, you know this is something I do every time, so this is nothing new, but I've decided that I'm going to just attach everything and then go from there. So I'm attaching my gold strip. I just love this gold paper, super fun. And I've decided that I'm going to do my card vertically. So it's going to open to the top. Now I'm not going to use that entire piece of my card base, but I've cut my papers. And what I do when I have two pieces of papers together, or two papers together, however you want to say it, I lay them down, face down, and then I tape the back. Now make sure, I already put the tip on there, that you put your top paper on the bottom. Sounds weird, but when you flip it over, it ends up being on the top. And now, they're not really attached well, so later you'll see what I do to fix that. Again, I'm just thinking about the card design. I pulled out a sediment. Oh, well, okay, let me talk about how I do this. So I flip my paper backwards, add a little bit of glue, and there you go. Now they're attached properly. Okay, so anyway, back to the sediment. I pulled out a sediment from the sediment sampler. No, that's not what I pulled out. I pulled one from Spiritual Sampler. There you go. And I've die cut my ovals, and I'm just thinking, I think I want to use some navy hearts to add a pop of color. And so I'm going to die cut some hearts using the hearts dies. Now, I've die cut the center piece twice because you never know when you're stamping if you mess up with the sediment. And here I'm actually masking it, and I've zoomed in for you. I'm masking it because I want to use two different colors of ink, but I realized that the ink I've pulled out looks good until you put it on the stamp. It doesn't match my navy, so I thought maybe I would add a navy color. So that's two colors I've put on there, and it looks pretty, but I've stamped it wrong, so it's a good thing I have that extra piece. So now I'm just going through and I'm like, well, maybe I don't want to use two colors. I've pulled out two more yellows, and here's an orange, and here's another orange. So that's 6 colors I've gone through. Don't really like any of them. They don't really match that orange. And then I pulled out a pink, thinking I would highlight the pink strip. And it just didn't work out. So that's 7 colors, and then I ended up with an 8th. Good old Memento Lux Espresso Truffle. I love that color. So anyway, I end up with the Espresso Truffle color, and I'm attaching my hearts, and I'm thinking, I've die cut extra ones, but I'm not sure where I want to place them yet. So we're going to move on and attach some foam to the back of my circle. And I think this card actually ends up looking like the sketch more than I intended it to. So what are you going to do? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So I'm attaching the centerpiece, but right now what I'm doing is wrapping some gold thread together, and I'm just going to put it on the back with glue dots and foam adhesive, and then I'm going to trim up the edges and attach it to my card. Now this has to probably be the quickest thread attaching that I've ever done, bow and bunch. I've never attached it that quick. I love it. Now I'm going to attach my centerpiece. Now this card really ended up being pretty quick once I figured out what I was doing. And the final touch is really just adding the extra hearts. Oh, drat it all. I messed up the thread. So much for being quick at that. Oh, Sav and her big fingers. So I'm going to attach these hearts using some glue, and then I finish up my card by adding a bit of Wink of Stella. I think that's Wink of Stella or whatever. I haven't used this in probably 6 months, and I love it. Super cute. I added a little bit of glossy accents on top, and there you have it. That's the end of the card. So comparing both, they do look, I think it looks exactly the same. I just cut the bottom. So let's see, I would grade this about a 90% of the sketch. I think that's awesome. Oh, usually it's more like 65. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will join in the fun with the Paper Smooches Sparks challenges. You could win a gift certificate to the Paper Smooches store. Please leave a comment below with a link to one of your creations, or link up to our Inspired by Virtual Smooches post. I'd love to check out your project. Thanks so much for watching.